What's going on, guys? This is Vince with vshred.com, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get bigger biceps. Alright guys, so I did a video just pretty recently about how to get bigger triceps, and I talked about how in order to get bigger triceps you need to be working all three heads of your triceps, because the word triceps comes from the word three. Tri means three, there's three heads. Today I'm going to be talking specifically about how to get bigger biceps. Now when you're talking about your biceps, it's called biceps because it's broken down into two muscles. Well, technically it's broken down into four muscles. You have your two muscles up here, up top. You have your outer head, which is also the long head. You have the inner head, which is the short head, and then you have your brachioradialis and your brachialis, and those basically run under, and they have different insertion points and points that the bones that they connect to. Today I'm going to be specifically talking about the long head on the outer head, or the outer muscle, and the short head on the inner side, and this is going to basically help you get that peak of the outside and the thickness of the bicep in general. So, and I'm also going to be giving you two exercises for each of these heads. That way you guys know how to specifically target one or the other depending on which head is lacking on your arm. But before I get into the exercises for the biceps, I have to first explain why we're going to be doing the exercises in the manner that we're going to be doing them. So when you're talking about biceps, or specifically the long head or the short head, you have to first figure out where they originate from and the bones that they insert to. So the main difference between the long head and the short head is basically they both insert, they originate from the scapula, which is right up here. But the short head, running on the inside, basically runs down in front, basically runs down from your scapula straight down into your radius, your forearm bone. But the long head, on the other hand, it originates from the front of the scapula, just like the short head, but it actually wraps around into what is called your bicipital groove, which is right out here on the outside of the scapula, and then it runs down on the outside of your arm and then goes down and inserts onto your radius again. So they both insert down onto your forearm bone. They both start from your scapula, but the short head runs down the inside, the long head wraps around and goes down the outside of the head, outside of the arm. So this basically tells you, this gives you an explanation, gives you a reason of how you should train them to specifically target one or the other. So we're going to start with, let's say, the long head, the outer head. This is actually going to make your arms look bigger from the side. It's going to give you that bicep peak on the outside of it. So when you're trying to target the outer head of your bicep, you have to realize that, like I said, it wraps around into that bicipital groove. So basically, to hit one head over the other, you have to put one head at a biomechanical advantage, and then while putting the other head at a biomechanical disadvantage. So in order to put the long head, the outer head, at the advantage, what you want to do is you basically want to get that into a stretch. So if the muscle runs from the sternum, or not the sternum, from the scapula around and down, the only way to basically put that into a stretch is basically by bringing that arm back. So by doing this motion right here, it's taking the bicep muscle and wrapping it around here and then wrapping it back, which is going to then put it in a stretch. Therefore, putting it in that stretch is going to give you the basically max range of motion, which is going to then allow you to also get the peak contraction of that peak of the outer head of the bicep. So I'm going to show you two exercises to basically help you target that outer head. The first one is going to be what I call drag curls. So when it comes to a drag curl, what you want to focus on is basically taking your elbows, and you want to focus on actually dragging your elbows back as you curl the weight up. So it's going to be a curl. You're going to be curling the weight up, but also while you're curling the weight up, you're going to be pushing your elbow back. So it's going to look like this. And as you can see, when I'm at the top of that exercise, my elbow's all the way back here, giving my basically completely stretching my long head of my bicep, the outer head, when my elbow goes back, because again, it's wrapping around that bicipital groove. So when you do this curl, you want to basically curl the weight up while pushing your elbows back, focusing on bringing this weight right up along the line of your body. So I'll show you from the side. Right there, pushing your elbows back as far as you can, focusing on basically getting that deep stretch and that peak contraction at the top with your bicep. So that's the drag curl, that's the first one. Next one, what I want to do is basically, I'm going to be taking this weight, and like I said, you want to basically get your elbows so that they're behind your body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on an inclined bench like this, and I'm going to sit back. When I sit back here, what's going to happen is my arms are going to naturally hang back behind my body. This right here is putting the outer head of my bicep in a biomechanical advantage so that I can get the stretch back here, and then when I curl up, I'm keeping my elbows back there, and then I can curl up and I can get that peak contraction. So you can do this as a hammer curl, you can do this as a regular alternating curl, you can do this as just a regular supinated curl, whatever you want. You just got to make sure that your elbow stays back so that you get the stretch on your long head and you keep the elbow back as you curl up and get that peak contraction. All right, now we've talked about the long head. I've given you 2 exercises for that. Now let's talk about the short head. So the short head, when you're working your biceps, the short head is what's going to give your biceps that thicker appearance from straight on. It's going to make them look thicker when you're looking straight on at somebody. So in order to do that, you have to remember where the muscle originates and where it connects. Like I said, both muscles originate up here in the scapula, okay? So as the long head, the outer muscle wraps around, the short head, the inner head, is going to originate here and basically just run right along down your arm and connect down here into the radius. So in order to hit a muscle properly, you have to basically bring the muscle from its insertion point to its origination point. So basically you're taking the muscle from the radius to the insertion point. And to do this, basically, what you want to do is you want to put the long head, the outer head, at a biomechanical disadvantage, just like we were when we were trying to hit the long head. We put the short head at a biomechanical disadvantage. So now we're going to do it the other way around. And by doing this, if you bring your arms back when you're trying to hit your long head, you just do literally the complete opposite when you're trying to hit the short head, is you're going to bring your arms in front of your body. And that is going to put the long head at a disadvantage, because basically if your long head's wrapping around, putting it in front is going to basically relax it a little bit. And then also, if you're trying to really hit that short head, what you're going to do is you're going to so if it originates up here and inserts down here, what you're going to do is you're also going to bring it in front of your body, and then you're also going to bring it away, basically outward from the midline of your body. You're going to bring it outwards. That way you can get a larger range of motion when you're curling this weight up. So I'm going to show you 2 exercises for this. So the first one is going to be just, you can call these caveman curls. Arnold used to do similar ones. He used to do bent over caveman curls, and he would curl across the body. I just call these bent over dumbbell curls. So what you're going to do, like I said, to put your long head at a disadvantage, you want to get your elbows in front of your body, and then you also want to focus on supinating your wrists as much as possible. By supinating, that just simply means turning your wrists up as much as possible. A lot of times, or I'll show you this in a later exercise, a lot of times when people are trying to hit their short head of their bicep, they use an easy bar curl. And I personally don't usually like using easy bar curls as much all the time, because basically it puts your pinkies a little down at an angle, and when you're trying to hit your short head, you really want to focus on supinating your hands as much as possible. So the first exercise, like I said, you want your elbows in front of your body. So from here, elbows are in front. From here, I'm also going to basically I'm not going to physically bring this weight all the way out here to do this curl, because then I'm going to be hitting a lot of my deltoids. But I am going to, in my head, know that I'm trying to keep it out a little bit farther. That way I can create a little more range from where it inserts to where it originates. So from there, I'm going to basically bend over, and I'm going to basically curl this weight forward, getting that peak contraction of the bicep, and then I'm going to let it go back down, keeping my elbows in front of my body the entire time. Okay. Now I'm going to keep one of these, and I'm going to show you one more exercise for the short head. All right, so like I said, when you're trying to hit your short head, it helps to, or you have to keep your elbow in front of your body. So when you're thinking of doing a curl with your elbow in front of your body, a lot of times people think of the preacher curl. And so yes, that's my next exercise. When people are going to do a preacher curl, A lot of times they would probably use the bar on the preacher curl right here. And like I said, there's no weight on this. I'm just showing you as an example. Right here, if I curl this weight up, yes, I am keeping my elbows in front of my body, but my pinkies are down at an angle, like I said. And if you want to maximally hit your short head of your bicep, you want to focus on wrist supination, which is when your pinkies are going to be all the way up. So if you're doing this, your pinkies can't go all the way up. So you're only going to get so much contraction. Whereas if you were to substitute that for a dumbbell, basically, and then you just do these alternating, you do these both at the same time, what you want to focus on, keep your elbow out in front of you, and then as you curl this weight up, you want to push your pinky as far to the ceiling as you can, and that is going to give you that peak contraction of the short head of your bicep, giving you that thicker appearance. So I'll show you again. Pinky up, and you can even bring it down. You can get the rotation. One more. Pinky up as high as possible, getting that peak contraction. You're not resting it at the top here. You're trying to push this weight towards the ceiling rather than bringing it towards your body, to where right here I'm literally just resting the weight. Whereas if I'm pushing it up towards the ceiling and back down, getting that stretch on my bicep, not going till I lock out, because then you're going to end up hurting yourself. Pushing it up, pinky towards the ceiling, pushing your whole weight towards the ceiling so you can get that peak contraction, and back down. All right, so I hope that helps you guys understand how to differentiate your training between hitting the outer head, the long head of your bicep, versus hitting the inner head of your bicep. I'm also going to be making a video on how to hit the other two muscles that are in your arm, not necessarily complete upper arm. They're going to be a different kind of muscle, the brachialis and the brachioradialis, that originate in the middle and insert down lower on your wrist. But for now, if you guys will like this video, make sure you're giving it a thumbs up. If you guys want a plan that has tips like this included in it, a 90-day program, tells you everything you need, I actually made a free quiz that matches you up with the training and the diet and the supplements that are right for your body. You can get to it by just clicking the link in the description below. It's a free quiz, gives you 3 tips at the end of it. You don't even have to buy anything. But like I said, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're asking any questions that you have below. If you have any video recommendations that you want me to make sure you comment those in the section below as well. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you soon.